Hi everyone, it's Tamara here with another card making tutorial for lalalandcrafts. This week I'll be using the gorgeous image Marci with the Pinwheel. I'll be doing some Copic colouring of Marci and then a card making tutorial using a number of dies from lalalandcrafts. So let's get started. cut out a piece of smooth white cardstock and I'll be doing some ink blending using Distress Oxides, Peacock Feathers, Salvaged Patina and Tumbled glass. All the measurements of all my cardstock will be in the description box below. I'm just using my domed applicator sponges to apply a nice smooth blend, just working between the colours, and then we'll add a bit of splatter at the end using the peacock feathers and some white acrylic paint. My salvage patina is quite juicy, so I always dab that off the side. I've grabbed out my distress sprayer and I thought I would have enough of the peacock feathers on my mat, but I just needed to add a little bit more, and you'll see me add a little bit more now just to make sure you get a nice strong splatter over our background. I've cleaned off my brushes and now just grabbing my white acrylic ink, just adding a little bit of water to that. I just give that a combine it with my larger brush, and then just using a smaller brush I apply a splatter over the front, and I will have those details of the brushes I've used in the description box below. The dies I'll be using today for the card are the Pinwheel die, the 3 clouds dies, the garden fence die, the mushroom and grass border die, and the flower and hearts border die, and I'll just be using the flowers from that. I've grabbed out some scrap pieces of cardstock I have in my stash, but with the mushroom grass die, I've actually cut that from COPIC Express It because I'll be doing a little bit of COPIC colouring on that. So I'll just get all this die cut out. With our pinwheel die, I do like to double up on the stick that holds them together. So I'm just cut that out 4 times and just going to glue one together and just do the same with the second one. Now I've grabbed some brads out. I was really lucky. I had a blue and a yellow that matched perfectly with my colors. So I'm going to add a yellow to the back and one of the small blues for the front, and pop the yellow one so that obviously it offsets against that blue. And just kind of line that little hole up through there, open your brad out, and then you've got your pinwheel all ready and made, and you can actually move it around, which is amazing. So I'll just do the same with the blue and yellow one. So as you can see, you can just turn them around. It's so fun. With the flowers border die, I'm actually going to be just using 2 of the taller ones. So I've just cut off the 2 ends, and with the 2 together, I'm just trimming them off so only the little parts remain where the flowers will actually sit. And again, I'm just going to kind of fussy cut around each of the flower ends so that we can attach those petals just directly in 2 pairs. So we'll cut around this one and then just make sure that one's a nice smooth curve. I wanted to keep the mushrooms white, so that's why I've grabbed out the COPIC Express It to cut this out, and I'm just using green 21 and 20 to match in with the green that will be for our flowers. So just work that through, blending it out, just working kind of in circular motions just to make sure you get a nice smooth blend between those 2 colors. And then we've got our border. We'll now attach our flowers to our bases. Again, I've just trimmed the bottom a little bit because I'll be tucking that behind the actual grass and mushroom border. And I'm just going to attach the inserts back in to hide that little piece of stem at the back of that. So again, I'm just wanting to keep it nice and fresh by using white. I've stamped out my sentiment already, and using the scalloped sentiment borders, I'm going to cut out my sentiment, just using a bit of washi tape to keep that in place. So I've pre-cut and scored a yellow card base, and as I mentioned, all the details for the sizes will be in the description box below. So the first thing we want to do is attach our fences. So I cut out 2 of these because obviously one wasn't quite long enough. So I'm just going to join them in the middle, and that's going to, Marci will sit over the front of those, so you won't notice that it's not a continuing, but it also looks like a fence that's all joined together. So I'll pop that down, and then we'll just trim off the ends later once we've attached all our other items. Thinking back about it now, I really should have trimmed them off first, because I do cut I would have cut some things a little bit differently if I had my time over again. So we want our pinwheels at the back with those flowers kind of sitting in front of them. So we'll add our pinwheels next. Again, I want to allow them to still move, so I'm only going to attach the bases of those, and that way you will be able to actually move the pinwheel around if your recipient wants to do that. So I'm going to have a little bit hanging over the edge, but it will be hanging over the edge of the cardstock below, so that will work out perfectly. So I'll pop the other one on the right hand side, just making sure that border die will cover up the base and it will just sit behind. So we'll attach our first flowers down the bottom, just kind of seeing that between where the pinwheel goes so it can still move around, making sure you're not getting any glue on that to stop its movement. And we'll add the second lot of flowers to the base. So again, I most probably should have moved this down just a little bit because you can kind of see it at the end. But I think Marci hides most of it when I've attached her. So this is when I decide I really need to give those fences a trim. So I normally would go from the back, but I just wanted to make sure I did not cut off anything that I didn't want to. And I was afraid if I did it the other way, I might trim something that didn't need to be trimmed. So now we want to just attach that border to the front. So I just wanted that grass kind of to be sticking out on the side. So we'll just glue that down. So I'm kind of aiming it more to the left so that we don't have to trim the right at all. We'll only have to just trim that left-hand side with part of that mushroom, but I most really should have just kept that mushroom in place. I've roughly placed where I want my clouds and sentiment to go, and I'm just making sure once putting Marci on that they're all in the correct place. So just hiring up that sentiment and that cloud. So we'll just move Marci off to the side, and I'll just grab my tweezers and we'll get all of our elements glued to the card front. So I'm going to just glue these directly to the card front, and then we'll be propping up Marci with a bit of foam tape to make sure that she's the center of attention on our card. So touch that bottom one, the full one will be in full, and then this bottom one we'll just have it hanging slightly off the side, but we'll just give that a trim once we've glued that down. And as you can see, I actually put the glue on the wrong side, so just make sure you're putting it on the right side, but I just quickly wiped that off to make sure I didn't get any glue where I didn't want it. And we're ready to go. So we'll now attach our front blue card panel to the white cardstock. So put plenty of glue on there, line that up so you've got a nice even border around all four sides. I'm just checking to make sure I'm putting it on the right side. I've already popped the glue on. And again, we're just lining that up for a nice little yellow border with our cardstock. I grabbed out some 3M foam tape. We'll just get that all attached around, making sure we've got all parts of Marci, including her hair and feet, all secured with our 3D foam. And I've just got a little bit on her hair, and I'm just going to kind of just move that around so that it kind of flows with her hair flowing out. So we'll get that lined up on the front of the card, just making sure she's sitting off those pinwheels so that they can still move. And this is the finished card project for this week. Marci with the pinwheel is so gorgeous and was so fun to colour up, and I love how she coordinates perfectly with these pinwheel dies. I think any recipient that would receive this card would get a smile from this. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you have liked it, please make sure you leave a comment and hit the like button. And if you'd like to see any future videos, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day. Bye.